Welcome to another weekly market update. The date today is Sunday, November the 20th, after the market closed on November the 18th. So it's a short week this week in US markets as it's Thanksgiving, Thursday, Friday. And it's traditionally a time when, things are quite bullish. November and December are typically, the so-called Santa Claus rally. But the big question this year is, will this Trump, it was the so-called Trump rally, much like Brexit, like the Brexit bounce, it was just like after a drop, it came roaring back. Or is this the start of something greater, a brand new bull market? And that really is the question perplexing a lot of people right now. But let's see if the charts can make sense of it, because fundamentally speaking, that's to say, not looking at the charts, just looking at, the global macro picture and economics and things like that. The market's got way ahead of itself with the stock rising. That's not to say it can't keep on rising. It's stranger things have happened than that. But so far economically, this nothing's changed in the global landscape just because Trump came in. In fact, if anything, the strength in the US dollar, which has risen as a result of this, is causing major ripples in a very fragile global economy and currency markets, which is we're not yet seeing the effects of that. So there's definitely a lot of trouble on going against the case for a bull market. But let's see what the markets are telling us. Look at the charts. We always start off with the very big picture here, going back to 1998, bulls and bears and bulls and bears, bulls and... Well, if you're looking at this, which is the New York Composite Index, all the stock markets in America all blended into one, it looks like the start of another bear market. It still looks like that. At the end of the day, the stock market has still not got to its beating a new all-time high there of over 11,000. It's not there yet. Let's look at this chart here, which zooms in a bit more. There's a 5 years, and there's the start. You have the makings here of the, what would constitute the start of a brand new bull market here. Using a lot of the signals I look at, we've got 55% up here on the RSI. We've got a rising 40-week average over a good 6-month period, and the 40-week is above the 70-week, which is the red line there. And the price is well above the 70-week. It's getting increasingly harder to resist calling, for a brand new bull market. I think, though, there was a bit of cheating that went on this year by the Federal Reserve, which put this market higher than it perhaps should have been. But it is getting a very conflicted picture now, where the chart is saying one thing, bull, the economic picture is saying bear. But one thing I like to do is we have to try and trust the charts. Shorter term here, let's look at the last couple of years here. You're just magnifying what I've just showed you. On the daily picture here, you can see that the market had a big bounce here after the Trump victory, which was a huge victory, by the way. It wasn't even close. It was an absolute landslide. Which is really a mimic of the Brexit anti-establishment vote. It's had a good run. It's probably short-term direction, which is really what we're trying to look at here for our trades, to make sure we're on the right side of the trend. It may level off a bit here, but there's no getting away from the fact that the market is in an uptrend right now. But be very, I think, one thing to bear in mind right now is to be very sector specific. So, I would be focusing on more the financials and steel and cement and infrastructure, financial things like that. I think short term the direction is up, but being very selective about the groups of stocks that one is into. I think this is going to be an important test if things can get higher over the Thanksgiving period, which is traditionally a bullish period. Then we're going to have to say that this is a brand new kind of bull run, albeit on very thin ice. I think that's probably the fairest thing I could say moving forward for the bigger picture. But still a lot remains to be seen, and still quite suspect of it. So that's all for this week for the market overview, and I'll speak to you next week.